Hello, Miss Rowe. I hope you're doing well. First off, I'm going to apologize. It's going to be loud and there's dogs walking around and saws running in the yard behind me. But let's just get into a little bit of a check-in. So I saw your check-in from last week, and then of course I will respond to you when you get me this one from this week. I'm glad you're able to show up through all the things that it's been a challenge, like with your injury, you're us working with your shoulder and back injury, and then now having a knee injury and traveling. Like it's been a lot. It's been busy, and it's been, I know, not the journey you'd expected it to be in your healing process. But this is the thing that, I mean, you're probably not going to want to hear this, not going to like to hear this, but this is the thing about life, right? Like it's nonstop shit like this all the time. Things are going to come up. The question is, how do you show up for yourself in these moments? And you're doing the work, and only you get to decide if you're content with the work that you're doing. I can only see what's been tracked for 2 days this week, so I can't really give you much feedback on that side of things. Like you'd said in your last week, that you've been really intentional about what you're eating, so you're not feeling bloated, which is great. And then it comes down to, how is your digestion? Are your bowels still functioning properly? What's your mood like? Are you able to feel clear? Are you able to, come out of the slump that could be your depression or depressive like symptoms and start to feel, clear on what direction you're going to take, what actions you're going to take to move forward? Because like you said before, there are actions that you can take. There might be some things that you're not in control of, but there's lots of things that you are in control of, especially now that we have your full physio breakdown. And we have that as your weekly workouts of physio exercises from physiotherapy for your knee, plus mobility work and activity work for your shoulder. Everything's working together to heal. You know what I mean? So that's really what the priority is. And you're doing that work. And so that's something that you can do. The other thing that you can do is make sure you get enough sleep, allow for your body to recover. Excuse me. Another thing you can do, like you said, is be hydrated, which you've been doing and you've been super solid in, and that's incredible. And the next thing you can do is be really intentional about what you're eating, because food is fuel as well as instructions for your cells as to what they should be doing. And so that's something that I want you to really focus on in this next week is, what are you eating to allow for your body to heal? Not in like oh, I can't eat that because that's bad for me. I can't eat that because it's not on like the plan. That's not what I'm talking about. What I want you to think about is, how does this food impact my body? What does this do for my healing that I want right now? And so right now, what we want to reduce is inflammation in the joints. We want to reduce inflammation within the body. There's going to be inflammation around the injury site, which we want for blood flow and healing. But how do we get more optimal blood flow? How do we get more nutrients to the injured site to allow for better recovery? And so this is where having protein at every single meal is super important. And I'm going to challenge you, because now you've had that as your goal in your habits for the last couple of months. Now I'm going to challenge you to try to have more protein than anything else. Protein over fat, over carbs, higher protein. And so that's going to be something like, I'm going to pull up your nutrition graph so I can just guide you through the 2 days. So I have Monday and Tuesday, part of Tuesday. And so to look at, like, this is me just going through with a data mindset. And so for breakfast, to have a protein bar, right? So there's 29 grams of carbohydrates and 20 grams of protein. So there's more carbs than protein. It's not going to have the benefit that you're looking for of keeping your energy levels up and fueling your body. It's going to have that spike and crash side effect because it's not enough protein to combat the carbohydrate. And so if you're going to have that, okay, great. Maybe you choose to pair that with having a protein smoothie beside it or a protein shake beside it, because you probably don't need any more carbs because you're getting enough carbs that way. You're going to get some carbs from your protein powder, but you put your protein powder in with some water, blend it up and enjoy that. And now you've boosted that meal. Now you have 44 grams of protein, 18 grams of fat, and I think like 34 grams of 35 grams of carbohydrates right now. So your protein is higher. It's going to support your body in its healing process. Yeah. So that's going to be that one. And then for your tuna sandwich, again, because there's a higher level of carbohydrates to protein, this is where it can be a little bit tricky. And so what I personally like to do and what I find works really well, like you can use your carbonate bread if you'd like, or you can use rice cakes because they're lower in carbohydrates, and load up with more of the tuna. So that should hopefully help as well. You can also toss in like a hard-boiled egg into your tuna, and then you're going to get more protein from there as well. And then for dinner, you had a smoothie, smoothie, chia pudding, hemp hearts, and flaxseed powder. Okay. So with the smoothie, I'm just trying to understand because it says smoothie, blueberry, banana, baby spinach, and that's it. Yeah. So then obviously there's some sort of fluid in it, but that meal itself is 69 grams of carbohydrates versus 19 grams of protein. And so this is where we would do a little bit of a swap and go, okay, I'm going to add, even if you had a second serving of protein powder that day, I mean, it is what it is. Ideally, you're going to have some whole food protein in one of those two meals instead. But I mean, like I said, I'm not here to say you need to be perfect in this, but how could we adjust what that day looked like to make it work for you? And so what you would do is you'd add in your protein powder to that smoothie. So you're going to boost that by 24 grams. And then you could just toss in your hemp hearts into your protein powder and your chia seeds into your smoothie and your flaxseed. I imagine that's probably what you did actually. But it's your chia seeds, chia pudding specifically. So if you put chia seeds rather than chia pudding in it, it's going to look a lot different in your macronutrients. But chia seeds specifically will also have more protein than just carbohydrates. So that's one way that you could do that. Adding in Greek yogurt or plain yogurt, like plain Greek yogurt, will also boost your protein levels there, as well as like pumpkin seeds will have higher levels of fats and proteins. And yeah, like that, those would be things that I would do to boost your protein in that meal rather than just having to be such a carb heavy meal. And then what that does is it just turns into sugars, especially because it's mostly fruit, right? And you're never going to hear me tell you to stop eating fruit. I'm never going to say that because I think it's ridiculous. But when it's such a high level of fruit in one meal, especially at the end of your day, that's just going to turn to glucose and it's going to lead to high levels of insulin. It's going to lead to more inflammation as well as higher blood sugars. So what I would do is try to pair with more protein and more fat and reduce the carbohydrates just a little bit, even if you did like, say in this measurement, because it's hard for me to tell you exactly what to do in this situation because it's not measured in a way that I can relate to it. But there's blueberries, bananas, and baby spinach. Okay, cool. Keep the baby spinach as much as you want. Have half a banana instead of a full banana and have like a half a cup of blueberries or a quarter cup of blueberries. Just reduce the amount that you would have had in half and then add the proteins in. And now you're going to boost your protein levels, reduce your carbohydrate levels. And that's just a quick swap that you could make, even if you kept the chia seeds, hemp hearts, flaxseed. And you just like made that swap of reducing the fruit a little bit, adding in the protein powder, maybe adding in that Greek yogurt. Now you're going to have more protein coming from that meal. Okay. So that's Mondays. And then Tuesday, there's no breakfast. Okay. But there's lunch and dinner. So with your breakfast, your lunch, it looks wicked. So you have 2 large scrambled eggs, goat cheese, and the gluten-free bread. Okay. So now we're sitting at 36 grams of carbohydrates and 25 grams of protein. What I would just do differently is I would add in a little bit of egg whites on top of your scrambled eggs, add in a little bit of egg whites as well, plus add some turkey bacon. Simple. Add in that little bit extra. You're going to get a little bit more protein. You're going to get a little bit more animal fat that way, but you're not going to get any more carbohydrates coming in. So it's just going to balance that out. And it's likely just going to bring you up to a 35-35. So it's equal across the board. And then for your dinner, which was quinoa, kale, chickpeas, corn, tamari dressing, and green goddess dressing. So what I would encourage you to do here is just add in some meat, right? Just add in some protein. So maybe you really like tofu and you want to add that in there. That's fine. You can do that too. But adding in shredded chicken, shredded turkey, something along those lines, and reducing your quinoa down to 3/4 of a cup or a half a cup instead of a full cup, and adding in more protein, you're going to get more, and adding in more meat, sorry, you're going to get more protein out of this meal and you're going to reduce your carbohydrates dramatically. Yeah, so that's what I would do there. And if you can think about your starches like rice or quinoa or lentils or anything like that, if you can think of those as like a condiment rather than as a base, it changes the meals dramatically. And so why I say that is because typically they just have they turn into sugars in your body, again, leading to high levels of insulin, high levels of inflammation. Not a bad thing to have on occasion and have as a side in your meal, but to have it as the base, like a full cup of it, it does lead to a lot of starches in the body. And so right now, when you're wanting to heal your body and you want to improve your mental health and your physical health, we're going to focus on bringing up more of the protein levels and more of like the whole food levels of full vegetables, of like adding in your corn, your kale, adding in celery, adding in herbs, adding in those types of things, and those are going to help, adding in beets, like whatever you want, and then that's going to help your body in its ability to heal and recover as well. So that's just something to think about, is a way to add those things in of your protein levels. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that, like, if you need to go back and look at your recipes and look at your meals while I explain that, feel free. But really what I want you to focus on is, can you get your protein levels to match your carbohydrates, or even flip the scale a little bit? Okay. And so it's really not hard to do once you start getting into the practice of doing it, but you just have to get into the practice right now. Okay. So that's what I have to share with you for nutrition wise. Now there's two more things I want to share with you. One is for your workouts. Yes, absolutely. I'll keep having 3 30-minute or less workouts for you that are short and simple. Anything that I have kneeling, take a look at the description, like the kneeling rotational one. Never will I make you do kneeling at this point in your healing. Never. But I did say, and that would make sure that you're seated, that you're like doing a seated rotation instead of doing a kneeling rotation. So just keep that in mind. It's just because I was away traveling that I couldn't do like new recordings or of exercises or anything like that. So that's what that was about. But just know that at this point, I will not require you to kneel. If it's a kneeling thing, make sure, like, I can almost guarantee I'll either say standing or seated. So just choose what feels good for your body at that point. Okay. Knowing that you're able to stand and weight bear a lot better now. That's fantastic to hear. So there's that. Plus, I want to just make sure that you knew, this is my friendly reminder to you, because you have your free gift in your account with Arbonne this month. There's a whole bunch of freebies going on right now. So you'll get, if you place a 240 order, which basically would be greens, skin elixir, if you wanted to get that. I don't know if where you're at with your seed prebiotics, but it's, if you want to try the gut health, because it's all just in one and it works really well together, because it's a pre, post, and digestive enzyme. It's a really wicked product, like hands down my favorite product of all time is that one for its benefits. And then Fizz, like that would be a full order to get you not only your free gift that you want, a charcoal face mask, plus the third gift of Mind Health. Any 240 order gets you charcoal mask and your gift. Any 320 order gets you the other Mind Health product, which is absolutely incredible for brain cell development, as well as focus and mental clarity and all the things. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's helpful to you. I'm going to basically do repeats of your workouts, and then I'm just going to switch out some of the exercises for you so that it still keeps it a little bit more fun and interesting. But we're going to be keeping things pretty consistent until you give me the go ahead with more standing, stuff like that. So yeah, keep me in the loop and let me know how you feel about those things, and we'll chat soon. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend, and we'll talk very soon, my friend.